New at 5, the penalty phase in the trial of convicted serial killer Rodney Alcala began today in Orange County. Also in court, a woman whom Alcala beat and sexually assaulted decades ago when she was 8 years old. Eyewitness News reporter Eileen Frere is live in Santa Ana, where jurors are hearing from the surviving victim and relatives of other victims. Eileen?
Well, Michelle, this afternoon, members of the families of the five who did not survive, those family members told jurors what Rodney Alcala did completely devastated their families. Cameras were not allowed in the courtroom for that testimony, but the court did hear from two other victims, one as young as 8 years old when Alcala left her for dead. After more than 40 years, Alcala apologized to her.
Over 27 stitches in the back of my head. Yeah, he hit me right over the head, back of the head.
Holly Shapiro recalls the severe injuries she suffered 42 years ago at the hands of Rodney Alcala. Her testimony comes as jurors decide how to punish the 66-year-old convicted serial killer. Shapiro says she was 8 years old, walking to school in Hollywood in 1968 when Alcala, then 25, offered her a ride. She told him she wasn't supposed to talk with strangers.
He goes, "Oh, I'm a friend of your parents." And I went, "Oh, okay." I mean, I was 7 or 8 years old. I trusted, adults. So he says, "Oh, we have time." He goes, "I want to take and show you this picture, this really cool picture." So I went, "Oh, okay." I actually wanted to jump out of the car at that moment. I followed him up to the apartment, and he showed me a picture, and that's all I remember.
A good Samaritan who saw Alcala with a girl called police, who broke down the door to find the little girl lying in a pool of blood.
Unconscious, naked, their legs spread apart, a bar across her neck.
Alcala was eventually convicted of child molestation. 7 years later, in 1979, prosecutors say he brutally raped 15-year-old Monique Hoyt. She was posing for photos when he knocked her unconscious.
She's been gagged with a T-shirt in her mouth, shoved down her mouth.
Prosecutors showing past crimes to try to convince jurors Alcala should pay with his life for torturing and murdering 4 women in Los Angeles County and a 12-year-old Huntington Beach girl in the 1970s. Alcala has been twice before convicted and sentenced to death for kidnapping and murdering Robin Sampso. 3 times Shapiro has been called to testify against him. Alcala, acting as his own attorney, did not question the now 50-year-old, but he did apologize for what he called his despicable behavior.
He's never apologized before, and for him to even bother, I mean, that made me sick to my stomach.
And it took months before Holly Shapiro was well enough physically to return to school. And even today, emotionally, she says she has a hard time trusting people. Jurors must decide whether Rodney Alcala should be sentenced to death or whether she should spend the rest of his life in prison without the possibility of parole. Reporting live from Santa Ana, Eileen Frere, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.